Welcome back. Now the FBI is warning of a notorious hacking group called Scattered Spider. It is now actively targeting the airline industry ahead of the July 4th travel weekend. Australian airline Qantas was hacked on Monday, exposing 6 million customers' personal information. Scattered Spider suspected of being behind it. The FBI writing, quote, once inside, Scattered Spider actors steal sensitive data for extortion and often deploy ransomware. The FBI is actively working with aviation and industry partners to address this activity and assist victims. Now, the group is known for its ability to carry out large-scale ransomware attacks on high-profile corporations, including the MGM Resorts hack. Joining me now is former NSA hacker and trusted SEC founder and as CEO, David Kennedy. David, thanks so much for being here. How worried should we be about this?
Well, Maria, what Scattered Spider ends up doing is finding an industry vertical like we saw last year with, the hospitality industry, most specifically casinos, and finding groups that don't necessarily have really good security. Airliners have been notoriously pretty rough with security in the past because they have to stay operational pretty much 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So a lot of their systems are out of date. It's much easier to hack. And especially with this specific group, largely believed to be, young teens out of the UK and US, are using social engineering as a main method. It becomes very difficult for these types of airlines to protect against these types of attacks. So they're very effective at what they do. And they go after these industry verticals that have these soft underbellies. And so we should be concerned, especially around the holiday timeframes. Over 72 million people are going to be traveling over the holiday weekend for 4th of July. Something that we're going to be taking a look at to see if any of the airlines are actually impacted by it.
So what can we do to protect ourselves?
Well, first and foremost, if you could get there a couple of days earlier, obviously it's July 3rd, so you'd have to travel probably today. Traveling around the actual dates themselves are usually very opportunistic for attackers. So how can they cause the most amount of pain during a specific period of time? If they're going to launch a specific attack, it'd be most likely during the 4th of July itself as people are traveling or really near to that specific day. Also, in the Qantas attack, they stole frequent flyer numbers, dates of birth, email addresses, things like that. So be really cautious on your emails coming out. They use social engineering and email phishing as kind of a main area. So if you're a Qantas customer, be very careful that it's actually coming from Qantas itself and not from a different email source, because they could definitely use phishing to try to get access to your frequent flyer accounts and then from there steal those miles.
All right, very, very good information. I want to switch gears and ask you about what John Ratcliffe, the CIA director, and the CIA declassified. They declassified CIA documents on the 2016 Russia collusion lie, saying that then candidate President Trump, of course, was set up as being a Russian asset. We know all about this. I broke the story very early on that it was a lie made up. CIA Director John Ratcliffe said that former Obama-era agency heads, including John Brennan, James Comey, James Clapper, all created a politically charged environment during the investigation and were excessively involved in making up this story and making it go viral. We reported on this extensively throughout several years, and now the Wall Street Journal is writing. The review released Wednesday did not dispute the credibility of the CIA classified report. What is your assessment of this?
So, I came from the intelligence community. I was a signals analyst for the intel community itself. I have a government clearance. The biggest thing here is when you look at trying to verify, a specific issue, let's just say it's Russia hacking into the election systems. You'd want to see it from multiple sources. In this specific case, it was done from a single source and it was ranked with high confidence, which is fairly unusual. With high confidence, you usually have other types of methods of intelligence gathering or multiple other sources to go and confirm this. And so in this specific case, it was a single source, it appears, that labeled the high confidence ranking, which is particularly unusual to see when you're looking for a high confidence ranking that wouldn't necessarily, have a high confidence ranking. So to me, it seems, fairly political, from that side, from the, being able to label something like that and kind of escalate it up when you don't traditionally see that from single sourced intelligence sources.
Yeah.
And then the second piece there, you want to see other sources come into play.
Yeah, of course. I mean, highly political. You think? Yeah, I think. David, that was an incredible story. Probably, arguably, one of the biggest scandals we've ever seen in terms of trying to set up President Trump, rivaled only by the cover-up of Joe Biden's mental capacity and the auto pen. These two are the two biggest scandals that we've ever seen. And unfortunately, I don't think anyone is going to be held accountable, will they?
It's interesting when you look at the political side. It's very different. Things get taken out of context, or certain agencies may be used for political context when they're just trying to perform their jobs and conduct in a normal operating way. So unfortunately, a lot of these agencies get caught up in the political side of the house, where something that wouldn't necessarily bubble up as a high confidence ranking does from the political side, so that it has an impact. And those are the things we have to be really concerned about.
Well, that's exactly what happened, and that's why half the country was not sure about Donald Trump, because of the lies that were made up from the Democrats on the other side of the election. But real quick before you go, David, how worried should we be about China and the communist country hacking into our systems? They just recently hacked into the telecom sector, and it was pretty substantial. Is this a regular thing that happens every day?
Maria, let me tell you, what keeps me up at night is China. It's not Russia, it's not Iran, it's not North Korea, it's China. They are ruthless at what they do. They go after our critical infrastructure, military preparedness. They steal our intellectual property. They have no concern whatsoever about the United States when it comes to cyber fronts. They're doing it all the time, and we really don't have an answer for that. Yes, we do hack back. Yes, we do intelligence gathering, but we don't have the same types of essentially unleashed capabilities that China does on behalf of the government to steal intellectual property and boost their own. They're really rough. They're not slowing down, and it's only going to continue to grow.
Yeah, which is why I would have liked to see the Democrats focus on communist China and their impact on our telecom systems and the hacking, rather than coming up with this lie about Russia and President Trump. That would have been the responsible move. But here we are. David, great to get your take on all of that. Thank you, sir.
You too, Maria. Have a great day.
And to you, happy July 4th. David Kennedy. We'll be right back.